The big debate now is how human beings are affecting climate and whether global warming is all due to human activities. But we also discuss about how to mitigate climate change, how to reduce our impact on climate. How has climate been important for our own evolution? This is a big question. We looked about India moving north, creating Himalayas, monsoons evolving. We said that affected the evolution of C3 and C4 plants and so on and so forth. If we look at the climate over East Africa, because from all the knowledge we have, we know that human beings most likely evolved in East Africa. How has climate change affected evolution itself? So, this is a good example. On the x axis here, we are showing age going from about 15 million years ago to the present. On the vertical axis, we are looking at the latitude range. So, it is basically south of the equator to north of the equator. You can imagine the coastlines of Somalia, Oman and so on going south. And you can see here it is showing the changes in vegetation types. About 15 million years ago, it was mostly open woodland, and this relates to whether the monsoon was very active or not. So, monsoon is not just over India. When the monsoon happens over India, there are also two short rainy seasons over East Africa during March, April and October, November, and that affected the vegetation types on East Africa. As the Himalayas rose and got settled and monsoons evolved over India, rainfall also affected vegetation over East Africa. From open woodland, it became very rich green forest consisting of rainforests, grasslands, woodlands and so on and so forth. So, if you imagine our ancestors, chimpanzees, gorillas, they were around since about 30 million years ago, and they split into old world and new world monkeys, which we will not get into. But if you notice now, they mostly walk on all four legs and they cannot run very fast. So, the change of vegetation from woodland to green allowed them to live happily, moving slowly, finding food without going too far or having to run too far when chased by a predator or some animals, and they could climb a tree, hide, etc., etc. But climate change again happened, which is related to other changes like the movement of Australia, for example, and the vegetation became again dry woodlands, savannas, grasslands, which kind of made it difficult for them to move slowly. So, if they were going to find food, they had to move larger distances, they had to run faster if they were being chased and so on. This is hypothesized to be, this we guess is the most important reason why the quadrupedalism became bipedalism, which means instead of walking on all fours, animals began to walk up straight, because you can move faster and run faster when you are running on two legs. And the endurance, or how long you can run, is also increased by running on two legs, and this will also change the connection from the spine to the skull, and that also got then affected by how we mastered the fire. We started eating cooked food that reduced our gut size and increased the brain size and so on. The main point is that as far as we know, the vegetation change in East Africa because of climate change, not man-made, natural, was a critical reason why we evolved, our ancestors evolved, not modern Homo sapiens, but our ancestors, the Neanderthals and before Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Kenyanthropus, Australopithecus and so on. They essentially evolved because of climate change. This is a very good example of how climate change itself may have been very critical for our own evolution.